Hurricane Ian is expected to make some impacts here in the Lowcountry. For the latest, I talk one-on-one with ABC News 4's Chief Meteorologist Dave Williams one-on-one for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. Dave Williams with ABC News 4. Welcome back to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Always good to talk with you, Quintin.
Yes, sir. You know, I'm bringing you back on to talk about Hurricane Ian, which is a big talk around the nation, and particularly here in the South. And I know that you all just got a 2 p.m. update. What's the latest?
Yeah, and with the 2 p.m. update, we don't get a whole lot. It is up to 85-mile-an-hour winds, so that's the biggest thing that we're seeing right now. And we are expecting a major hurricane here, possibly in the Caribbean, but very likely in the Gulf of Mexico later this week.
And the bullseye, for lack of a better word, is basically Tampa right now. Am I correct?
Yeah, maybe just a touch north of there, but certainly the west side of Florida from Naples up toward the Big Bend of Florida. It looks like it's gonna kind of hug the coast pretty close. So kind of like we saw back here with Matthew back in 2016, 2017, yeah. So that's what we're looking at.
And I know this particular Hurricane Ian, is actually forecast to become a major hurricane. What day do you expect that to happen?
No, that could happen at any time. Usually the track forecasts are pretty good. It's the intensity forecasts that are lacking a little bit with time. But right now we're looking at that probably happening sometime, maybe overnight tonight, maybe into the day tomorrow, but it could happen very quickly.
Wow. So I know in Florida, obviously that's where the hurricane's going to basically, start as far as the intensity of the storm. How much of the watches will have to expand to reflect the track adjustment?
And that's exactly what's going to happen. It depends on where this tracks. They probably will get shifted farther north with time because we'll be more aware of where that storm is going to go in a few days from now. So those will start to adjust north, and some places might get shaved out of watches or warnings, while other places get added into those watches and warnings, just depending on how the storm evolves throughout the week.
So this is a redundant question, but how do you see Ian rapidly intensifying thereafter?
It probably won't rapidly intensify thereafter. It's probably going to jump up very quickly and then kind of maintain. One thing that's going to help to keep it from maintaining is this storm's going to go across Cuba. So whenever a hurricane is over land, that keeps it from intensifying. So the time that it's over top of Cuba, that will start to weaken the storm just a little bit, but it will likely flare back up very quickly in the Gulf of Mexico for 2 reasons. 1, there's lots of very warm water there in the Gulf of Mexico, and 2, the atmospheric conditions are favorable for that storm to intensify very quickly.
Wow. So let me ask you this, Dave, this just speaking in hypothetics, but is there a scenario in which the hurricane can slow down and head more towards the panhandle and weakens a lot before its actual landfall?
Nothing's out of the question right now, Quintin. And for the last 20, so starting on, let's see, how far back should we go? Starting on Saturday,
yes, the
trends were a little bit farther to the west. Then on Sunday, the trends started to come back a little farther to the east.
Right.
Now that we're here on Monday, guess what, Quintin? The trends are back a little farther to the west. So I'm not going to say anything is out of the realm of possibilities. There's actually a cold front that's going through here right now, and that cold front is going to help to slow the forward speed of this storm down. So instead of moving along, I don't even know what it's moving along right now at exactly, but once it does hit that front, it could slow it down by like 2 or 3 miles an hour, maybe as much as 4 or 5 miles an hour in forward speed. And then that makes it even more difficult to forecast where it's going to end up.
Wow. So let me ask you this. Obviously, the Lowcountry is in the cone currently. What will be the severity of those impacts here?
Yeah, and it's way too early to tell. Right now, it's pattern recognition. We're recognizing the fact that we probably are going to see at least some fringe tropical storm conditions here as we get later into the week. The main impacts that I think we're going to get, heavy rainfall, several inches of rain will be possible. We're going to pin that down a little bit better as we pass through the week. Some gusty winds, not only because of the hurricane that's approaching from the south, but because there's high pressure off to the north. And the difference between that high pressure and the hurricane that's off to our south, that's going to pinch the winds right over top of us. So we could easily see tropical storm force winds, 35, maybe 45-mile-an-hour wind gusts, especially as we go from Thursday into Friday. So we're looking for heavy rain. We're looking for gusty winds. We're certainly going to see large surf on the Atlantic Ocean. And coastal flooding with the high tide cycle could become an issue because of the new moon phase that we just had and those onshore winds between the high and the low pressure center, those winds blowing onshore. So that's going to create some higher than normal high tides, likely starting on Thursday morning. And with the position of where we think this storm is going to be later this week, Friday into Saturday, just off to our west, can't rule out isolated tornadoes either. We're not talking about plains tornadoes here. We're not talking about EF3, EF4 tornadoes, but we could see some tornadoes, EF0, EF1, that just kind of spin up very quickly.
Kind of like what happened in North Mount Pleasant a couple of weeks ago.
Exactly, and a lot like what we saw with Tropical Storm Elsa just last summer. So with a storm that tracks right over top of us or slightly off to the west, we always have to pay attention to that tornado threat possibly coming our way.
And I know from my research, some of the models have it going north once in Florida, while others have it more northeast towards our area in Georgia and South Carolina. Will that northeastern track, Dave, while weakening, means much more effects for us here?
It really just depends on exactly how it unfolds when it makes landfall, because one of the things that it's going to do when it makes landfall is that storm is going to spread out. It's going to get very big, not powerful, but very big in area. So it's going to spread out, and that rain will get shifted over a lot larger area. So as far as those impacts, we've just got to wait and see what it does when it makes landfall, how spread out it gets, and how quickly it weakens when it's over top of land.
Yes, so those big, and it's probably going to spread all the way out to, like, say, Jacksonville?
Oh, yeah. It's going to spread those impacts across to Jacksonville. And it's going to spread impacts up in our direction. Like I say, it's just a matter of maybe 5-10-mile-an-hour winds, maybe an inch or two more of rainfall. The exact track and intensity are really going to be key as that storm gets here. And right now, as far as timing, I think Friday is looking like the wettest day for us.
Yikes. So, hypothetically speaking, if it takes a far eastern route, will it just be a depression by the time it gets here to Charleston?
Now, see, I don't want it to take a far eastern route, because then there's the possibility that it could get back out into the Atlantic Ocean, which is something we certainly don't want to see. If that gets back out over the Atlantic Ocean, it has the possibility to intensify. Right now, I'm not thinking that's going to happen, but that's certainly something we don't want. If it tracks over top of land all the way from, say, somewhere near Tampa, all the way to almost Charleston or Orangeburg or somewhere like that, then, yeah, that storm will be likely a tropical depression by the time it gets to us. But that doesn't mean we can't see tropical storm force wind gusts and still several inches of rain for sure. And even tornadoes wouldn't be taken off the table.
So today is Monday. Let's talk about the next couple of days as far as the forecast.
Gorgeous. It's always gorgeous before and after a hurricane. Yeah. So the weather, we've got a front moving through right now, and that's the one that I said is going to head south and kind of slow down Ian as it pushes to the north. So our weather is going to be absolutely gorgeous. Great running weather. I know you like that warm running weather, Quintin, but tomorrow morning, we're talking about those temperatures back around 60, lower humidity, lots of sunshine tomorrow, and temperatures only topping off maybe in the middle 70s to right around 80. So it's going to be really nice tomorrow. As the storm gets a little closer, we'll see those clouds thickening up a little bit. But temperatures are going to be very nice, and the humidity is going to be dropping for the next few days.
Wow. So just to recap, you said, Friday is going to be our wettest days. When exactly is this hurricane going to, the storm itself is going to make it to Charleston?
So I would say it would be on a parallel with us, probably sometime on Friday into Saturday.
Okay.
And that just depends on how quickly or how slowly it goes. But it does look like it's going to take its time. Yeah. So, I mean, like you said, here we are on Monday. We're talking about a storm 5 to 6 days from now. Yeah. So there's still a lot of questions that we have to answer. There's a lot of details that we have to iron out, and we'll do that. It's just going to take a little while.
Yeah. So no running for me Saturday at all.
Yeah, I'm signed up for the Isle of Palms connector run. So we'll see. Yeah. But not looking good right at the moment. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, they'll most likely postpone it by the end of this week.
We'll see.
We'll see. Well, Chief Meteorologist Dave Williams with your most accurate forecast. Thank you for your time. And again, welcome back to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thanks, Quintin. And anytime you need weather info, I'm here for you, my friend.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.